Michael Chandler came out. Don't forget, Chandler's in the batter's box. And by the way, I don't love the term batter's box. I've kind of been throwing that out to see if it would catch on, but moreover, I was waiting for you guys to correct me in the comment section down below and tell me what we should call this position. But when you have Khabib fighting Tony and Chandler's going to be brought in, flown out there, go through all the COVID testing, get all the paperwork done, make weight, training camp, but he only goes in if either Justin or Khabib gets pulled out. We got to call that something. Is batter's box catching on? I'd love to be the one that coined the phrase, but I don't see you backing me up on the phrase, but I also don't see you correcting me on the phrase. We got to find a name for that position. Second thought, Chandler came out and said, to bet, he said, Justin Gaethje would be a very hard fight. This is a quote. Justin Gaethje would be a very hard fight. To bet against Khabib would be crazy, end quote. All right. Lot to interpret there, okay? Because Michael Chandler is in training camp, and that's not going to be overly hard for him. He just got done fighting Benson Henderson. It was a relatively fast fight that he sustained relatively limited, if any, damage in. So he could fly home and rest a couple of days and boom, be right back in the gym. He doesn't lose any shape. He doesn't lose any timing. His weight didn't get out of control. Chandler's in a very good spot for a short notice fight. It's really not all that short. It's just an extension of what he's already been going through. I want to offer you that because he still does have to have his eye on the prize somewhere. And Gaethje and Khabib do have similarities, but they are not the same fighter. By example, Chandler is going to have to be able to stop the takedown if he takes on Khabib. He is not going to have to worry about the takedown against Gaethje because even though Gaethje has great wrestling, he never uses it. Chandler is also going to be, where his skills and his level of offense lies, he might be the first guy to ever take Khabib down, let alone even try. Nobody's even tried to take Khabib down. And I don't believe that comes just because of their high level of respect to Khabib's wrestling, therefore anti-wrestling. It's because Khabib's coming forward the whole time, and he's throwing something at you the whole time. You never have an opportunity to get a setup. You never have an opportunity to plant your feet. You never have an opportunity to throw something at him, change elevation, trick him a little bit, get him off his feet. You just don't have those chances. Like Vince Lombardi very famously said, but very accurately said, he was pertaining to football, but it carries over to every sport in life. The best defense is a good offense. If you are on offense at all times, you never have to be on defense. That's what Khabib does so well. So you are looking at similar styles, but different styles. Chandler is going to have to contest with some very high level and very high output kickboxing should he end up in there with Justin Gaethje. He's also not going to be able to rely on that takedown that he turns to so much just because Gaethje is so good at defending it. That's not to say Chandler can't get him down. I'm saying he can't rely on getting him down. It sounds as though he is putting Khabib over, though, and when he says betting against Khabib would be crazy. Well, a lot of people are betting against Khabib. A lot of people really like this matchup with Justin Gaethje, and that old expression in our sport that you're only as good as your last fight certainly pays off in spades as it pertains to Gaethje because he's never looked so damn good. He has never looked as good ever, and this guy's won championships before. This guy was 15-0 when he rolled over to the boys in Vegas before. He's looked good. He never looked that good. He never looked that good. I only bring this to you because Chandler's in a very unique situation that I don't think many of you would envy. And I know that there was a lot of jealousy and resentment to the new guy coming over and being put in such a great spot. I will just remind you, nobody else offered to be in that spot. Nobody else raised their hand. We saw top guys saying, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Pay me. We saw other guys saying, yeah, I'll do it once you identify who it is and I can sit down with my coaching staff and game plan specifically for him. Okay, you can say whatever in the hell you want. There's only one word that we're listening to. Yes. If you say anything other than yes, You said no. Dana talked about this recently. He said, look, there's all sorts of ways to get out of a fight. Negotiating your way out of a fight is also one of those ways. Either way, a fight was offered. You didn't want the fight. We're all done here. Now, I only bring that up for you because Chandler said yes. And I will remind you of something that a lot of you have forgotten, but Michael Chandler, Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, teammates, alma mater, University of Missouri, wrestling. The wrestling does have a hand in this because when you go into a wrestling tournament, you don't know who you're going to face. And the way that works is you get up in the morning, your dad drives you to an event, you put down your $10 for a registration fee, you step on a scale, and then you leave for an hour. You go get some breakfast, you hydrate, you come back, the brackets are drawn. You don't know who you're going to have until you see the bracket. Even if you win, you don't know who you're going to have next because you don't know who's going to win that match. If you win again, you don't know who's going to be next. The world of wrestling has what's called a 45-minute clause, meaning they can't put you on the mat without a 45-minute break, but they will put you on the mat as soon as 45 minutes are up. So you literally would have no time to game plan. You are going to be exhausted after a wrestling match. You're going to be sitting down somewhere. You're going to be having something to drink. You might have to change the color of your singlet. Oh, by the way, at some point you got to warm up and then walk out there again. There's just no time. Same thing happens to the consolation side. You get beat somewhere where you don't know who else got beat and who you're going to draw into there. You just don't know who it's going to be. So to plan or prep for multiple people at one time is a strategy. I don't know many guys that do it, but they could. They would at least have that opportunity to do it. What most guys do, and what I suggest for you that Michael Chandler is doing, is he's focused on himself. He's not thinking about the kicks of Gaethje, and he's not thinking about the cage control to the takedowns to the leg entanglements of Khabib. He's focusing on getting himself ready so he can go out there and put on his best performance. I only bring that to you because look at the opportunity that he's been given. He is going to go to Fight Island. He is going to be licensed. He's going to be compensated in some fashion. He's at the very minimum going to get to see a show in an organization that he's never been in. And as much as you want to say, well, it's the unified rules and it's all the same, that logically makes sense. And I wouldn't be upset with you if you did say it. I would just want to tell you, as a guy who's been on both sides of the tracks, it's not the same. The cage isn't shaped the same. The logistics behind the scenes aren't the same. The way they call your name, stage you, and prep you, they're just not the same. You go through a new experience. If it's a new experience, it's a new experience. And his new experience, should things go the way that he's hoping they'll go, are going to be in a main event of a pay-per-view on ESPN for the championship of the world. So many people said a lot of things, and some of them were strategic. Most of them were articulate. A lot of them didn't lose any face or any street cred. But one person said a one-syllable, three-letter word. That's why they're in that opportunity. That's why they're the only one in that opportunity. And that word was yes, but there's a lesson here. And it's not just to stroke Michael Chandler and shine his wheels up. There is a lesson here. Back up the tape 5 months. Khabib scheduled to fight Tony. Time number 5. One guy stepped forward. One guy, without permission of Dana, without the blessing of ESPN, without having to ask anybody, one guy publicly came out and said, I am going into training camp. I will be on weight. I will have my medicals done, and I am a phone call and a flight away. That one man was named Justin Gaethje. That opportunity did present himself. Who stepped in? Whose dreams came true? And who became the world champion? This batter box business is a real deal. I could back up the tape 2 years. Darren Till getting ready to fight Tyron Woodley. who inserted themselves, who stuck their nose in business that it didn't belong without even being asked to. A young man that you call champion named Kamaru Usman. There is a major opportunity right now when a fight gets made to be the guy who steps into the batter's box. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to get some headlines. That's a good thing. You're going to get a little financial incentive. It's nothing to write home about, but it's going to be there, and it's enough to pay your trainers and coaches and make sure that everybody's happy and on board. That's not a bad thing. You're going to get on an airplane and go through an experiment and go see this goddamn Fight Island, which I'm so jealous that I haven't got to see. That doesn't sound like a bad thing. Then you get to go through the process, including the weigh-in. See the guys, shake hands, size people up. That doesn't seem like a bad thing. That seems like something we would call in the business a dry run, a test run, something to garner experience. There is a lot of opportunity in this sport right now. And if you're one of the guys that's just championship, you can't say anything other than championship. You think that's the tough guy answer. You think that's what people want to hear. You got to do things to get close to the championship. Are you going to practice every day? Do you have a good management team? Do you have a relationship with the media? Are you pretty good with the social media and getting some likes out there? You look at Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis might be the best at social media there is. Derek Lewis doesn't have a damn autonomous thought. Derek Lewis hasn't thought of anything funny in his life. But everything he does is funny. He goes and finds what somebody else is doing, and then he just reposts it. You ever seen Tosh 2.0? Tosh 2.0's never created a damn thing in his life. He waits till somebody else does it. He identifies it. He plays on a show, and then he gets all the credit for it. There's ways to do this. There's a game being played. Get in the batter's box every time. Well, Dana called this guy, and he didn't call me. I guess Dana doesn't like me. Great. Option 2. Be the reserve. Be in the box. Be ready. Say yes.